I'm going to be just like most of the people in the world, Martin Luther King. And the reason why I think as a young man, growing up in the Baptist church and hearing a minister speak of things and you can feel them within your heart, your mind, all through your body, deep down in your soul. During the era that I came up with, I was born in 1955, and not really being conscious about what was actually going on around me. But I knew that was a different culture that I lived in. And being on Waterproof Plantation and having the dust between my toes, it was the far-fetched from where he was speaking at to where I was. And I look at my family members who were older than what I was. They looked at him so gracefully. They cried just as I did when he died. And had the full understanding to have someone else fight for you and to lose their life just like Jesus Christ. It's one of the ultimate things that one man can do for another, let alone to do for the whole world. To lead as an example, to be a martyr, which he eventually became a martyr. And so for that, and a number of other things that he's actually done, really inspired me to challenge myself to the opportunity, because I am a product of my environment. Because of him, I have the strong will, I have the determination. I have the opportunity to pick up myself from my bootstraps, just as one of his speeches that he gave, you know. And although we all have that drum major's mentality, I'm constantly reminded, because with him, I can look at my grandfather who could not read, and look at my grandmother who, her mother was a former slave. I can think of coming basically from a single parent home and living on a plantation and having to move to the city and really come to the full understanding that, you know, freedom is not really granted to those that sit down. Freedom is granted for those that will get up and go out there and demand their freedom. And because of him and him losing his life and my religious background, I have no fear for me, fighting for me and my family for freedom. Black History Month is important because it is recognized as Black History Month. But there are some within our community realize that every day is Black History. Black History Month, just being, I think, the 4th day of February, I look at myself sometime and say, well, I am history. Each day that I wake up and I succeed in life, through all the adversities that I can actually face and have faced, every day is a Black History Day. And to have others give you an opportunity to recognize that across the board, because every nationality that I've actually seen that actually are immigrants, and of course, you know, the African American community are not really classified as immigrants. And so we have an opportunity, because we don't speak our language, we don't really have particular parades, we don't have the opportunity to actually create a particular culture with a different language. Even though we can sit in restaurants and we speak the same language, we have to understand that, you know, to have that recognized, not just for 1 month, but then every time I wake up in the morning that is recognized. I understand one time I was in the Navy and I had the opportunity to raise the United States of America's flag in the port of Hong Kong. And the realization came to me that a little farm boy from Houma, Louisiana, is here standing on a United States Navy ship raising the American flag. And as I went out for liberty in Hong Kong, I realized that I didn't have to tell nobody that I was African American. It's an opportunity that anybody with an eyesight can see that I'm an African American. Therefore, February being the short month of all the months that they have in this year. I appreciate Black History Month, but I tell you one thing, every day is a Black History Day. Black history is more important to the African American community because we haven't come to the realization that how far back that we have come. And to use the Finding Our Roots Museum and older people and having communication with the church members and coming together, and then we are here. And what's more important to understand how we accomplished the things that we have accomplished, even though Martin Luther King went to Washington with I have a dream speech, and then he said he went to the mountaintop, and all those speeches that he had doesn't mean a hell of beans, because we have actually took several steps backwards. It was a unified effort, which is basically the campaign that I ran on, is to unify the members of the Black community, because we are segregated, living in a segregated world with segregated minds. And I don't want the term segregated to be misunderstood by so many people, because they have some warped minds, and those warped minds don't really realize to be segregated. We segregate ourselves in churches because of music, the type of food that we eat. But then here we have a problem within ourselves, that we segregate ourselves because of the east side, the west side. In my district, we have Gray, we have Shreveport, we have Gibson. We have so many areas that we have to really realize that, you know what I mean, to have Black history is to have some pride amongst yourself, have some unity amongst yourself, have economic development amongst yourselves, educate ourselves within our own culture, expand our knowledge to actually get through the segregation amongst ourselves, that we can actually deal with segregation in every other avenue that we actually would like to go into. Therefore, you know what I mean, we create some talented opportunities for ourselves, and understanding that, you know, we are talented, we are diverse, and because of that diversity, we have an advantage. So Black history, as it pertains to Terrebonne Parish, I think Terrebonne Parish, in reference to the African American community, is very, very important. It's very, very important that we unite, that we actually be able to be self-sufficient within our community, because our community is being starved by economic developments that don't develop in our community. Therefore, it is very important that Black history is maintained in our hearts, in our schools, in our churches, in every corner that we can go in. So when you ask me about history, it's so many words that I talk a lot, and I can just give you a sermon on how well that how much we should come together, and not to take anything from any other community, or any other nationality, or any other state, any other country. It's the fact that, you know, maybe because we sometimes have the mentality that we have no country, and we constantly complain, and then we have to look back at our history and see how far we have come. We have overcome, but then this journey is not over. That's why Black history is very, very important in Terrebonne Parish. My name is Carl Anthony Harding, affectionately known as Carlee. I'm the newly elected councilman for District 2 in Terrebonne Parish.